Thank you. And cue my crazy dog downstairs who thinks she's a hound. So we have 2 COVID dogs, so I apologize in advance. I have texted my wife to try to get them to be quiet. Unfortunately, we're having some work done in the house. So I want to thank everyone for attending. Wish everyone a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening. I realize we have a global reach here, so I want to thank you for taking the time to attend today. I want to start up front with a disclaimer. So cloud is something that's definitely not like math. It's not, 1 + 1 always equals 2, but it's definitely a situation where there's a lot of nuance. So there's no right and wrong. And so I'm just going to be giving some sort of overall best practices. Painting things with a pretty broad brush, you may have, certain nuances or details within your organization that may make it different for you than for the organization I'm a part of, as an example. And so I want to be sensitive to that. I think it's very important to figure out organizationally, what are your goals and objectives, and make sure that you're aligning to those as you begin your cloud journey. I think it's really important to understand yourself, sort of know thyself before you go out and embark in the journey. My perspective is going to be unique. I started on the business side right out of college. I moved over to analytics and application development for several years, and then I ended up working in infrastructure, project management, enterprise architecture, did some work with robotic process automation as well. So I try to come at it from different perspectives, from both the infrastructure perspective as well as the application development, as well as sort of looking at things from a business benefit perspective. So I have a quick agenda here. So we have some basic definitions. Cloud is one of those terms that's sort of thrown around, and many people use it sort of universally, and it may mean different things to everyone. So I wanted to set the table up front with some basic definitions. Talk about sort of the current state, so where we are just as a world in terms of cloud. As well as some of the future trends. So, where's our current state? Where are we going? Some advice on sort of getting to the cloud and a good sort of methodology that you can use to accomplish that. Talking about native services and data considerations as well as I think one of the key things with cloud is cloud optimization with cost. And then talking through sort of from a visibility and governance perspective in terms of what are some of the best practices as you're moving to the cloud in terms of making sure you still have and have maintained the same visibility and governance you may have had in your current environment. So some quick definitions. So cloud, my definition of cloud is really around an operating model, not necessarily a location. So I think that's something that's important to say up front. I think some of the key characteristics are simplicity. I think is something that's the reason I think most folks cloud is to simplify their organization and what they do. I think scalability is one of the key benefits to the cloud that's really critical. So I think a lot of organizations are looking at, rapid growth. Things like the pandemic of the last year are reasons for them to look at cloud solutions. I want to scale. Maybe I need to be more agile than I was in the past. And so those are 2 key characteristics that we see organizations embracing the cloud for. A third is the transparency of cost and utilization. So I know this from having done some cost calculations when I worked, in data centers and ran infrastructure organizations. Those costs are very complex. There's a lot of things that make up those costs. With the cloud, it's very easy. You can see exactly what you're using, and you get a bill for exactly that. So it's almost like a utility, like an electric bill or a water bill that you would receive. So I think that's a key characteristic of that cloud operating model. The other piece is consumption of a service. So sort of I can go into a catalog and I can sort of pick and choose which things I want from that catalog, and I'm consuming it as a service and then paying for it. So as I use that service, I pay for it. and also the shift from a capital expenditure, so CapEx to OpEx, instead of making a big purchase every few years and then waiting and sort of, depreciating down that purchase. I'm really paying for just what I need right now, and then I'm getting the bill in that year. And so that's helpful for organizations that are trying to tie, maybe their expenses to, more closely in line with the revenue, so they're not, investing a lot of money up front, anticipating revenues over the next, 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 years, but they can closely tie those things there. So one thing that I wanted to sort of take a pause and see as we're going through the definitions is just to understand what are some of the things that you're looking to get out of this webinar. So I think all the lines are muted, but if you can just pop in the chat and give some thoughts there, we can definitely sort of tailor the presentation and we can key in on some of those aspects. So I'll be looking in the chat as you can type those responses in. So continuing on in our definitions, types of clouds. So there's not just, as we see here, there's multiple definitions around cloud that are thrown out there. I think the most common thing when people talk about cloud, they're thinking about the public cloud. So that's basically a platform that's hosted by a third party. Some great examples of that are sort of the big three are Amazon, AWS product, Microsoft Azure, and Google's cloud platform. So I think that's sort of when people think cloud, I think a lot of times that's what they're thinking of. The other thing to note here is there's also a concept of a private cloud. So that's basically your cloud operating model within your own data centers. So using your network of servers and data centers that you as an organization have. So that's the concept of a private cloud. Multi-cloud is a term that was coined pretty quickly after we coined the term cloud. And that means you're leveraging more than one public cloud. And so that may be something that not everyone's thinking about when you're starting. You're saying, hey, I want to move to the cloud. You sort of have different options available to you. You pick one. But it's actually very common, as we'll see later, for folks to be in more than one public cloud. And it could be something as simple as I'm using Amazon to provide some infrastructure, and I'm also using Office 365 from Microsoft. By definition, you're in multiple clouds. So that's something that's a definition there. And then the other thing is hybrid cloud. And so hybrid cloud is really the combination of cloud types. So using that private cloud along with the public cloud. So how you're working sort of.
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.